Welcome to this week's Coffee and Conversation, iced coffee edition. I was talking with Sven and Charlie, and we were discussing three habits of men that sabotage their marriage. And it's not the ones you might be thinking of. These are men, once they realize relationships in trouble and I need to work on myself. The first one is avoiding uncomfortable conversations. Always walking and tiptoeing around any topic that might upset her, or not addressing the elephant in the room a lot of times. Now, uncomfortable conversations often involve the word no. And guys are, because we're having problems with the relationship, can she say, this is why we're getting divorced because you said no to this or we had this? Yes, they can do that. They can try to make it sound like that's the reason why all the problems. We know that's not typically true. So avoiding uncomfortable conversations. I would argue not having these, being avoidant of conflict, it leads up to the marriage problems. I know it did in my first marriage. I was conflict avoidant like crazy. So if there's an important conversation, you need to have it. Wife wants to buy a $75,000 Mercedes, is a stay-at-home mom, and you can't afford it? The answer is no. And it doesn't matter what she feels like, what she wants, what her friends have. It's what you can afford. You need transportation, not a Mercedes. A lot of guys, I've known people, they get cars they can't afford because they're afraid to tell their wives no. They're afraid to have the conversation. We can't afford it. Afraid to have the conversation. We need to be on a budget. You're spending more money than we make. You can do that lovingly. It doesn't have to turn into an argument. She can get upset. So what? Deal with it. The second habit is listening to men that give bad advice. So I'm in a number of men's communities, and I see this all the time. We have good men in the community going to and taking advice from men who haven't straightened out themselves yet. So you got coaches and mentors and what have you in a community, yet you're talking to the guy who's still struggling occasionally with cranial rectal insertion issues, hasn't gotten things squared away, but is more than happy to tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that. Keep in mind, most of the coaches, we don't tell you need to do this, need to do that. We ask you questions to let you figure out what you need to do. So just think about, who are you taking advice from? This can make a huge difference in how you decide you're going to approach things. And you know what? Even the guy who's kind of occasionally got the cranial rectal insertion problem will have a nugget or two that's beneficial. But the problem is, a lot of times those are few and far between, and you get a lot of bad advice in between. So if you're in a community with some leadership or people you've identified as giving sound advice, stick to those. Don't go reaching out to everyone and anyone trying to get the answer you want or whatever their take is on it. It's just something we see, and it undermines men and keeps them from walking the path they need to be on. The final thing, and this has happened consistently since I've gotten into coaching, is men will stop after seeing some improvement. I've run into this to where after a couple of calls, guys will be like, oh, things have gotten better, I don't need to do coaching. That never lasts, because they have a couple of steps. They don't have the entire roadmap. And time again, as coaches, we have seen guys make a little bit of progress and think, oh, okay, I can relax now. This is a never-ending journey of self-improvement, self-development, becoming a better man. And you can't just stop. Oh, things got better. She's not complaining anymore. She seems happier. Again, you're basing all of your decisions off of if she's happy. A lot of the things we suggest that you do, like starting to spend time with your buddies again, if you've completely disconnected yourself from your friend group, will actually piss her off. Nothing we can do about that. Some wives actually are like, thank you, finally, you're doing something for yourself. But the reality is this, men. Whether it makes her upset or not, you have to do what you need to do for you, and you can't stop. It's like dating your wife. You don't get to stop once you're married. When men do that, it causes marital problems. You don't get to stop spending time with other men once you right the ship. Okay, now I'm going to stick around the house more. When we are helping men through what is the hardest thing they've gone through in life, we, like I said, consistently see some guys will do the stop. Okay, things have gotten better. And that's not the way to rebuild a version 2.0 deeply intimate and connected relationship. You need to continue the journey because she needs your leadership. Because she is going to work on herself after watching you consistently over time persist in your own self-development. That's what we typically see. All right, brothers, have a great week. We'll see you next time.